decisions. Think of your aspirations. Think of your determination. Think of the life after. Human Rights Radio, 101.1 FM. Think.
Human Rights Radio 101.1. We redefine broadcasting.
The time is 6 o'clock. President Muhammadu Buhari mourns last leader of ex-Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev. Spanish toddler dies after being hit by giant hailstone. UN says North Korea's COVID restrictions intensify human rights violations. In sports, Super Falcons arrive in Kansas City for friendlies with USA. Good evening. Welcome to the Global News on Human Rights Radio and Television. I am Harirat Ismaila. Details of these and many more shortly. President Muhammadu Buhari has mourned the last leader of the former Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, who died at the age of 91, describing him as a courageous reformer who will be remembered for years to come because of his immeasurable contributions to world peace and openness in his own once rigidly closed society. Reacting to Gorbachev's death on Tuesday, President Buhari, in a statement issued by his spokesman Gorbachev, said the late Gorbachev was a remarkable gentleman whose reformist agenda had fundamentally changed the Soviet Union through his policy of perestroika and glasnost, both of which set the stage for economic and political transformation of his own country and that of others in the defunct Soviet Union. He stressed that although Gorbachev's political leader was consumed by those reforms, history and posterity will be kind to him for placing the interests of the Soviet people above his own ambition. He added that although Gorbachev died without achieving his dream of a nuclear-free world, his genuine commitment to durable international peace and security would never be forgotten. At least 48 people have reportedly died in the Democratic Republic of Congo's central province of Sankuru following a cholera outbreak in the region. Local health officials revealed that 401 cases of the disease were recorded between August 15 and 21. Adding that to contain the disease, they are working with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, to raise awareness among the local population. Reports say that the province of Sankuru has also been dealing with other diseases such as measles, monkeypox, acute respiratory infections, and meningitis. On August 12, Congolese health officials said they had recorded 69 cases of monkeypox, which was declared a global health emergency in July by the World Health Organization. Spanish authorities say that a 20-month-old girl has died after being struck on the head during a violent hailstorm that caused havoc in Catalonia, northeastern Spain. Fist-sized hailstones measuring up to 10 centimeters in diameter were said to have rained down on Tuesday in an area around the village of La Bisda de Empordà, causing injuries, mostly broken bones and bruising, to about 50 other people. People started screaming and hiding, said musician Sicos Carbonell, who filmed the storm's destructive aftermath in Castel de Empordà, a nearby hotel where his band was playing a canvas-covered terrace when everyone was forced to run for cover. Authorities said the toddler who was struck in the head in La Bisda de Empordà died in Girona's Turreta hospital. The Meteorological Agency Meteorcat said the hailstones were the biggest ever recorded in 2 decades in Catalonia, and parts of the region remained on storm alert on Wednesday. Small amounts of radioactive isotopes have been detected in air samples collected in Kotka in southeast Finland, although authorities said there is no risk to humans, as similar discoveries are quite normal. The Radiation and Nuclear Safety Authority (STUK) announced this in a statement on Wednesday, stressing that the observed radioactivity has no impact on the environment or human health as the concentrations were very low. Finland, Sweden, and Russia and the wider region have a number of nuclear power reactors. The STUK noted that small amounts of zirconium and niobium can escape into the air, perhaps from the fuel of a nuclear power plant during plant maintenance, adding that during the collection of the sample, air currents were flowing to Kotka from the east and southeast, but the source of radiation was unknown. A spokesperson for the agency said authorities do not plan to investigate further, as much discoveries are quite normal. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó says the European Union will suspend an agreement with Russia, which eases visa issuance, although there will be no blanket visa ban imposed as there is no unanimity on that. Szijjártó disclosed this in a statement on Wednesday, adding that Hungary has signed a deal with Russia's Gazprom for additional gas shipments from September 1st, noting that his country, along with some other member states, opposed the Russian visa ban at a meeting of EU ministers in Prague. The minister said the agreement, which eases visa issuance, will be suspended with a qualified majority support, although he did not say whether Hungary backed the measure. Eastern and Nordic countries strongly back a tourism ban, while Germany and France have warned their counterparts that it would be counterproductive, saying ordinary Russians should still be allowed access to the West. And meanwhile, Iranian Foreign Minister Hosseini Amirabdollahian says the Islamic Republic is still studying the United States proposals for reviving the 2015 nuclear deal. Speaking at a news conference with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow, Amirabdollahian, however, stressed that Iran seeks a stronger draft with regards to guarantees and is now exploring how the parties to the Vienna talks can come up with a more robust text in this respect. The minister stated that if the United States acts realistically and agrees to strengthen the current draft, a deal will be sealed, adding that the Iranian negotiators held talks for months in Vienna with a goal to reach a good, robust, and lasting agreement. Amir Abdollahian said Iran also cares about the United Nations Atomic Agency's safeguard issue, adding that the IAEA must distance itself from political behavior and focus on its technical tasks, noting that once the deal gets revived, Iran will not accept politically motivated statements and baseless accusations from the agency. On his part, Lavrov said Russia supports the revival of the deal and the removal of all anti-Iran sanctions. You can follow all our programs live at Bracketed TV on channel 110 and Human Rights TV on channel 113, all on TSTV. You can also catch us live on the internet on YouTube and Facebook with the handles Human Rights Radio TV and Bracketed TV. Stay connected to the station redefining broadcasting. Now to the rest of the news. The United Nations says that North Korea's COVID-19 curbs have worsened the country's human rights violations, citing extra restrictions on access to information, tighter border security, and heightened digital surveillance. The report, which was released by the United Nations Human Rights Office in Seoul and expected to be presented to the General Assembly in October, comes as rights groups say various authoritarian governments all over the world have exploited the COVID-19 crisis to tighten their grips and prosecute opponents. The report says that North Korea's border closure in early 2020 added to curbs on access to outside information as authorities reinforced the military's presence, fences and closed-circuit television cameras, and motion detectors along the border. The country also employed new technologies such as digital watermarking and the modification of hardware to conduct surveillance and suppress access to foreign media content while jamming radio frequencies from outside North Korea, thus making it more difficult for information to enter the country. And now to business news. The federal government has pegged the estimated amount required to bridge Nigeria's gas infrastructure deficit at $2 billion annually. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, disclosed this at the inauguration of the Governing Council of the Mainstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund, noting that a key cause of poor gas production, gas flaring, and low domestic gas utilization was the gas infrastructure deficit across the country. Silva therefore charged the 9-member council to work seriously to mobilize funds for the provision of the critical infrastructure for the gas industry. The minister, in a statement issued in Abuja by his media head, Horatius Igwa, said the council would drive economic development and prosperity for the nation and its partners in accordance with the Petroleum Industry Act 2021. Silva noted that though the federal government had put in place several programs towards achieving the decade of gas initiatives and developing the huge gas potentials of the country, the missing link was the absence of the basic gas infrastructure to help realize the objectives. And away from business news to the world of sports. Nigeria's Super Falcons have arrived in Kansas City ahead of their double-header friendlies against the United States of America. Randy Waldrum side will face their host in the first friendly at the Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City, Kansas on Saturday, while the second friendly will be played next week Tuesday at the Aldi Field in Washington, D.C. Both countries would use both friendlies as part of their preparations for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup to be hosted by Australia and New Zealand. The Super Falcons were last in action at the 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations in Morocco. The Super Falcons, who have won the Women's Africa Cup of Nations 9 times, played in every edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup and also played at the 2000, 2004, and 2008 Olympic Women's Football Tournaments, remain the most successful women's team on the African continent. And still in sports news, Premier League club Everton is holding talks with Villarreal for Nigeria international Samuel Chukwueze, as the Toffees are reportedly planning to sign the winger on loan with an obligation to buy. Chukwueze has struggled for regular playing time at Villarreal, with Spaniard Yemeni Pino ahead of him in the pecking order. The 23-year-old has made 3 substitute appearances for Unai Emery's this season, and due to a series of injuries, he made his least starts for Villarreal last season after he broke into the main squad in the 2018-2019 season. His compatriot Alex Iwobi is already part of the Everton squad. And to end the global news update on Human Rights Radio and Television, here is a recap of the main stories. President Muhammadu Buhari mourns last leader of ex-Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev. Spanish toddler dies after being hit by giant hailstorm. United Nations says North Korea's COVID restrictions intensify human rights violations. In sports, Super Falcons arrive in Kansas City for friendlies with USA. This bulletin was produced by Novlin Owankwo at the newsroom, with Mohammed Sani Babangida at the MCR of the Human Rights Media City News Center. I am Harirat Ismaila. Good evening.